Hello, everyone, and welcome to Journey to Success Radio, a show featuring people and companies who are making a positive contribution to the world. This show will help you learn how to apply success principles in every area of your life so that you can make the most out of your skills and talents and accomplish more of your goals. To find out more about the show, please visit www.journeytosuccessradio.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Journey to Success Radio. My name is Tom Too Tall Cunningham. I'm a resiliency expert and Napoleon Hill Foundation certified instructor, helping people to think, speak, and act positively through the many and varied challenges of life. You can find out more about me at my website. It's Tom2 and Tall, TALL.com. My guest today is an amazing friend of mine. Shannon Smith is a personal brand coach and founder of Premier Image International, based in Toronto and providing customized programs in personal branding, image mastery, charisma, presentation skills, appropriate attire and grooming, manners, etiquette training, executive dining, and protocol for Fortune 500 companies and individuals across North America. She's a TV personality, a speaker, a columnist, and author of Power Manners, How to Use Your Personal Skills for Business and Social Success. Very practical, easy-to-read guide exploring the contemporary manners and universally accepted code of behavior. Learn the secrets of self-confidence, discover the power to influence, make success a natural part of your life, and go from unnoticed to unforgettable. You can find out more about Shannon at her website, which is Premier, Premiere, Image International, INTL.com, or PowerManners.com. Welcome to the show today, Shannon.
Oh, thanks, Tom. What a wonderful introduction. I've been so excited to be on your show. I was on before, as you know, and I'm looking forward to this one and to more.
Yes, and as you know, I read your book. I am a big fan of your book. The things that you write about in there are not things that we get taught. I don't think, not that I remember getting taught anywhere in my life, and so I loved it because it's so many things in that book I wasn't even aware of.
I know. Well, do you know, Tom, I had to cut 100 pages out of it because when I self-published, of course, and had the inside designer, do the pages, she called me and she said, "Shannon, you've written 350 pages." I said, "Oh," I had to cut 100 pages out to keep, to the retail price. Otherwise, it would have been like 3 inches thick. So right. I have another book.
Nice. Yeah, and I think I know you're a fan of Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich, and I think with the Law of Success was so many, like 1,000 pages that book was. So he had to make Think and Grow Rich so people wouldn't get intimidated to read it.
Yes. Do you remember when we met that I brought you my copy and it was so torn up? I wouldn't give it to you either.
I think it has duct tape on it too, doesn't it?
Yes. And oh my golly, I keep reading that book. I had to buy a new one, but I still like my old one. It certainly encouraged me to be and do what I do now.
Exactly. Yeah, he's encouraged a lot of us to do what we do now.
Yes,
let's talk about manners. In Canada, we are an extremely multicultural society here, and I was wondering about. I know manners are so important. They were drilled into me as a kid, but with such a multicultural society we have in Canada, are manners different between cultures?
Absolutely, but I have a program put together for new Canadians, but that's not what we're going to be discussing today. We should do another
Mm-hmm.
interview, actually. But no matter what, if I went to Italy or decided to go to live in another country, I'd better know the nuances and the rules and the behaviors and the etiquette of that country. So my book is about how to conduct business and social success in North America. And I'm being hired by people from all walks of life and all ethnic groups to do just that, to tell them how to do business with us, what's the politeness, what's needed, what can they expect, how can they be more powerful, more credible, have more authority, and in the way they are mannered, because it's a huge topic. And, my book covers a lot of very different topics, as you know. Everything from entertaining, how to send the invitation out, how to eat with an agenda, how to do business over lunch, how to be a gracious host, wining and dining, meeting and greeting, everything about e-communications, business etiquette abroad and in North America. So how to toast, how to give a toast,
right,
how to tip. So there's a lot of information here. And I know that I wanted to chat a little bit first about why are manners so important? I know we were talking, and you asked me that question. Well, why are manners so important today? It's so sad that in this hyped and frenzied world of impersonal communications, most people have really forgotten the value of professional ethics, common courtesies, decent manners, and the correct social etiquette. Everything from not slamming the door in someone's face, having a proper handshake, how to be a host, how to enter the conversation. These are things that we're all having a lot of confusion about.
right.
It's too bad that people don't understand the power of manners, because the first impressions are instantaneous and irreplaceable.
Right. And a lot of people, the only manners they got taught are please and thank you. They didn't get taught business manners, social media manners, manners at business meetings. And so most people, I would suggest 99% of the population doesn't know all of the manners that are in your book that are important for business. We all know to say please and we all know to say thank you, but what you get into in your book is way more in depth than that and applicable more to business people. And so there's so much in just the manners that's important, isn't it?
And poor manners, people don't understand what they're missing and what they're losing by not having proper manners. Poor manners can limit a person's progress both professionally and socially. And they're losing respect, better service. They're losing friends. They're not being liked by coworkers. And they're losing more opportunities as well. So in personally and professionally. Oh, you're clanking around there.
So what topics should we avoid when we are meeting others? That's part in your book as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Well, the topics that we should avoid are, personal. Not talking about family in the beginning, divorces, sex, politics, diets. So there's quite a few there. But also not to get too personal too quick. And in North America, we tend to do that. Those personal questions that you can find out more at the next meeting, if the conversation goes that that far. And we don't understand that small talk is not idle chatter. It's much more. It's the art of the short conversation and the science of the mini analysis, and it's a craft to learn, and we can learn those those things. And small talk is not small talk. It's really big talk.
Right.
And there are a lot of commandments that we have to look at to really be a great conversationalist, and but you don't want to blend into the background like beige wallpaper when you're first meeting someone. So the first rule is circulate. Circulate when you're going to meetings, and you're there to put your best foot forward. And part of that is to learn the techniques of small talk.
Right. And this is important for salespeople. And what you're talking about, probably they're not all good at it, because salespeople are told to build rapport. And so a lot of building rapport is sharing all their personal things. But right at you, as you said, at the start, that's not the time. Be professional at the start, and eventually later on, you can share who you are as a person. But initially, as you're saying, stay away from that personal information.
Yeah.
It's not really building rapport in a proper way, is it?
No, it really isn't. And there are more taboo topics such as personal tragedies. They don't belong in that first conversation. Off-color or discriminatory jokes.
Yeah.
Medical problems. And deaths in the family. Those things are to come later when you're building that rapport and building a relationship. And we all know that building the relationship is, no matter who you are, what you're doing, where you are in life, we all sell ourselves first.
Right. Right.
And the last thing that we should be talking about is me.
Right.
We've got to keep the I out of the conversation.
Right. Right. Now, what about those people who aren't like good at small talk? I don't really like small talk, and so many people don't like it, and they're not really good at business small talk.
No, that's right.
Is there a way to get better at that?
Well, there are. First of all, one of the things to really learn is your elevator pitch. But you can. It's to start the conversation by asking people questions.
Okay.
Asking questions and being interested and being in the moment. I'm thinking that there's be enthusiastic, be polite, and be in the moment. So how many times, Tom, have you been in a meeting with someone, or you've just met someone, and their eyes are roving all over the room except contacting with you?
Right. Annoying.
It's very annoying. So it's to be interested and interesting. It's like conversation is like being on the tennis court. The ball goes, you hit the ball into the other person's court, and they hit it back to you. So that's exactly the way conversation goes.
And is it something that we should rehearse, maybe, like questions ahead of time, appropriate questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And practice in front of a mirror.
Okay.
And also, it's interesting to have a conversation, practice with a friend, and set that conversation up. And for heaven's sakes, get rid of your cell phone. I don't care where you put it. It shouldn't be ringing, dinging. It should be in your briefcase. It should be someplace. And don't interrupt a conversation, and go and look for that. We are so wired. It's terrible.
We are.
I was with a friend over the weekend, and here we are in her beautiful cottage up north, and we're we're having a glass of wine on the patio, and she's got her cell phone there, and all of a sudden we're hearing ping, ping, ping. And she's answering that. There were no emergencies. This was a time for relaxation, and it's very annoying for the guest. So the host should be more aware of how to. They're not relaxing themselves, and they're certainly putting the person on edge. And you know, Tom, they're just as a side. I was watching CNN, I think it was CNN, and they were talking about a school in the U.S. I don't know where, I can't remember, but they were grade 3 or 4. Now, they were having a de-wiring day. That meant that there were no cell phones available that day. The children had to be in the moment, be aware of others, be creative, and talking was one of those things, conversation, polite conversation, but also just to be disconnected. We are all so connected, and when you see a person and you meet a person that is polite, that is in the moment, is totally connected with you, interested in you, doesn't that say something about that person?
Doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, you want to be with them. You want to know more about them. So good manners are very empowering. And good manners lead to likability and more success and more contracts and more job offers. Everything is more positive. Very positive relationship building.
Exactly. And something that sets you apart, I would say, because there's many people that don't have these proper manners, and if you're competing against them for business, you're going to stick out because you are using proper manners, and when your competitors don't.
Yes, and you do stand out. And it's not just the please and thank you. It's being interested and interesting and really paying attention to what you're saying and what they're saying. So and so that you're enjoying the experience. You're not, I had to do this.
Right. Right, it's like having a conversation with a friend, someone you admire, where you're paying attention, you're attentive, you're asking good questions, you're listening to the answers, and you know, people evaluate you based on that. And as you said, if you got your eyes all around the room and you're not really listening, that indicates something about your manners as well.
Absolutely, and you know. It's just simply getting to know others to help gain popularity and intimacy with friends and colleagues, and adding spice and zest to a dull conversation. So these are skills that you can master. One can master them. You know, a lot of people don't have inborn charm. They don't know how to flatter somebody, and people know when you give them a compliment if it's a scam or it's insincere. So do not ever give a compliment to someone if it's not sincere.
Right, and you can tell, as you said, you know when someone's just made up. Right.
Yeah.
And you make yourself look worse doing that.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. So there's a lot of commandments to mastering small talk. And the quickest way to gather clues as to another's interest is to listen very carefully. And today, listening skills are more critical than ever because we're texting, we're emailing, and everything's short. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm happy to say, that contracts are still made mainly face-to-face.
Right.
And it's the face-to-face communication that is lacking and is more important than ever before. And young
Right.
people in particular need to understand this. And I was with a young fellow just recently in his mid-20s, and this was a meeting. I was coaching him. So this was time that we had put together, put aside, special time for him. Well, I usually get there early. This time, he got there before me, and I sat down. We shook hands. I sat down. He didn't get up. He had his laptop, his cell phone there, and I just waited until he calmed down a little bit and was more in the moment. Finally, I had to say to him, "We are on our time now. This is our time together. This is your time with me, and you're paying me to be there for you. I'm in your space. You're in my space." So we were talking about how we could become more professional. Small talk was coming along, but I have a personal brand audit that I was doing with him. It takes an hour and a half. So I was critiquing him on all these different things. And one of the things came up was his not being present. So it's critical. Time is valuable. So it's more important than ever before that you be present in the moment with that other person.
Exactly. And it does set you apart if you can do that, or if you do that, because it's rare in this day and age. Let's talk about dress and attire, because
this is
that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. I'm thinking of the younger generation. The younger generation don't seem to be as impressed or to give such respect for the suit and tie and the power dressing and even myself personally, like I prefer, and most days, at least at work, I wear jeans and a dress shirt. Steve Jobs did it. Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook. So what about attire? Is it still dress to nines, wear a suit and tie, and look sharp?
Yes. Well, Tom, where you work and what you do and what business you're in is the way you work. If you're behind the scenes and you're a techie, there's a way to be very fashionable with your jeans. So you can still have that kind of an edgy feel to your wardrobe.
Nice. Yeah.
With instead of a T-shirt that's cotton, you might have a silk blend, and it could be a great popping color. And you could put it with a linen jacket for summer.
Okay.
Or it could be a more loose style jacket. So it doesn't have to be this uptight business.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
So you put some cool, different style shoes with your outfit. Make sure that you're pressed, you're clean. Your number one accessory is your grooming. Make sure that you're current with your hair. It's a sad thing, but we are judged now within 10 seconds.
Right.
So people are judging you, and they're making very harsh decisions about you. Whether we like it or not, they are making judgments about our social status, our economic status, where we are on the socio-economic scale, whether you're educated, whether you're mannerly. I can go on and on about first impressions. So first impressions are critical. 85% of all decisions are made with our eyes, and that's a study out of UCLA. Very interesting. So, I just went to a seminar just recently. Let me tell you about this fellow. If he didn't need imaging, and personal branding, I don't know who did. Standing up at the front, and you'll relate to this because you're in the speaking business too. He had a black. He's about 6'1", 6'2", a little bit heavy, but that's okay. You can work with all of that with proper clothing. So he had a black suit on, which was a little bit too big for him, and you could tell that it was not the top quality. So first of all, buy the best you can afford, but buy it on sale.
Okay.
The sleeves were too long. His shirt sleeves were he was always pulling his shirt sleeves out of his jacket. His shirt was not pressed, white shirt, not pressed. You don't have to press the entire shirt. Just starch the collar and the front and the cuffs. If you don't want to iron your shirt, the lazy man's way. But it's got to be pressed, and there wasn't the seam in his press in his pant leg down the front wasn't. It was off, and it looked as if he had hung his suit up the wrong way. And his hair was very. He not only needed a hairstyle, he needed updating, but he also needed to have a good hair conditioner because his hair was very wiry and dry looking. Also, now let me tell you, people judge you by your if you're slovenly, they're going to assume that your work is slovenly.
Right.
If you slouch in your chair, and you look as if you're not paying attention to the speaker, people might assume, well, is that the way he pays attention to his work or to his life? So it's not just about your looks; it's about the assumptions people make about you.
Right, which a lot of it is body language, and as you said, even just grooming. Like, my jeans are always like brand new pair of jeans, like they're not faded, and I have the nice bright colored shirts for sure, all different colors of bright shirts. But it's your hair, it's your entire grooming, it's how you sit, how you pay attention, how you listen. And yeah, it says something if you're leaning back in your chair with your feet way out in front of you, like just looking, trying to pay attention. It looks like you're bored. It's like, sit up, look at the person, lean forward.
Well, not only and it's disrespectful.
Right.
And do you want to be with a person that's disrespectful of you? I don't think so.
Right. And you may not even, it may not even be the person that's speaking that's looking at you. It could be an assistant of theirs or someone who works with them. And you can't get away with maybe the person that's talking not seeing you. Maybe it's someone else who's going to tell their boss later, like, did you see the way that guy was sitting? Like, he obviously wasn't paying attention.
Yes. About a year or so ago, I gave a presentation. There were maybe over 100 people in the room, and there were in the front row there were tables. Everybody was at a table, and the assistant to the next speaker was sitting in the front table, and she was about 25. Nice-looking girl, very fashionable. She sat with her legs crossed the entire time of my speech, and not only that, she had her cell phone, and she was on her cell phone. What did I do? What should I have done? I decided to be very silent, and all of a sudden, the room went very, very quiet. And she realized, finally somebody nudged her, and she realized that she was being very impolite. And I can imagine what her boss would have said to her. She turned the cell phone off, checking her messages, and she was paying attention. But everybody in the room was focused on her. What do you think they were thinking about her?
Right. Unprofessional.
Not only that, how
rude.
Where would she be going? Would she be a success
No.
What's her future like?
Right.
So it also tells you a lot about other things too.
Nice. It does. It does.
Will you be hired? Will you get the contract? Will you get the next contract? And I'm dealing with people that are very high up in companies, and they do not know how to invite someone to dine, lunch,
Right.
dinner, breakfast, how to be the perfect host, when to pay the bill in a restaurant, when to bring up business during dining, if at all. And when you have to set the stage, you are the conductor, and people forget that. You are the leader of the symphony. So
Right.
it's up to you to make that person feel comfortable and welcome and be a perfect host. So I have executive dining programs as well. So it's not just about image and about giving the rules of business, etiquette, and small talk. It's a lot more, and it's about being very professional, and manners are about empowering yourself. Manners grease the wheels of society, and without proper manners, where would we all be? We'd be, running around naked with spears and all kinds of different things. So,
Yes.
we don't want to be dismissed. We don't want to be seen as uneducated and a boor. So it's taking stock. We need to take stock, and we have to understand the importance of the little things. And it's not, as you understand this. It's not the big thing that you lose the contract over.
Right.
It's not the big thing that you lose the data over, or the interview. It's the small thing.
Right. Right. Now let's talk about this happens so often. I go to a ton of networking things and events, and so you walk into a room. It's full of business professionals of some sort, and you see a group of people you wanna, or at least one or two people you want to talk to, or there's a conversation going on. Sometimes I just ad lib or stand nearby, or like, how do you break into a conversation with some people that are already in let's say, a networking situation, and you want to join the group? How do you get entry to that group?
Well, let me give you some suggestions. First of all, you're there in the group. You're trying to get into the group. You're standing there. The polite thing to do is to make eye contact with one in the group and smile. And then the group, someone will open up a space for you. Listen carefully, and this is your chance to. You've been standing there for a little bit. You can see where the power of the group is.
Right.
So it's very, very interesting to listen very intently, and make eye contact with the one person in the group. Smile and listen. It'll guarantee you'll be included. So when you have that chance, introduce yourself. When there's a pause in the conversation, and shake hands.
Right.
So listen to the conversation before jumping in. You might want to, when you're listening intently, you can then ask a question, and it's to keep the eye out of the conversation. And, hi, how, when, and where. So it'll give you more popularity, and they'll see you as interested and interesting. So stay about 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, and if the conversation isn't where you're at, just sort of come away and find another group. You
Okay.
have to stay in the group.
Right. But do it discreetly. Don't just like turn around and like, okay, see you guys later.
Absolutely. There's no way you want to dominate the conversation,
No?
and small talk is conversation. So it's a unique talent, and so during if you're having a conversation in the group, it's up to you to add a little bit of spice and zest. And
Mm-hmm.
so don't be dull. dull Douglas doesn't work.
Okay.
So the first rule is to be interesting and
Okay.
interested in what is going on,
Right.
and that will. If you have an interesting comment or you ask an interesting question, it's going to lead to other questions, and then the attention will be turned to you because you've asked an interesting question and you're waiting for the response. So it's not to respond again. Wait, take your turn, but wait for the response, and then someone else in the group will probably respond. You can ask them another question. How did you come to that conclusion? So, so it's those questions: why, when, where, how.
Yeah.
So you can. Those are the questions to ask, and they'll find that you are very interesting. And if you're adding some zest, we forget to add some comedy or some fun or some lightness to the conversation. We shouldn't be in a heavy conversation
Right.
in the beginning, and you'll end up with one or two friends of that group. Maybe everybody's going to be asking you for your card. I'm not quite sure, but it helps them to relax and pass the time without stress and strain.
Right. Right. And yeah, I found that too. If you can ask an intelligent question, you really do set yourself apart. You keep the interest of the person who's speaking. You show good listening skills by asking good questions. And so important to set yourself apart that way by, asking an intelligent question, paying good attention to the conversation, and maybe even making, as you said, an interesting comment as well.
And thinking before you speak, so not responding too quickly.
Right, right, right.
And I think a lot of people do that. They just jump in and they're not listening, and they're just thinking about what I should be saying instead of listening to the speaker and what they're saying. So, small talk doesn't mean small mind.
Right. Right.
So
It's not traffic, it's not weather, it's not your health. It's none of those
no,
things.
it's not the funeral that you attended. It isn't the you want to include topics such as theater and plays, maybe current art exhibits or museum exhibits, men's and women's relations. That's always a big one. What
Hmm.
books have you read lately?
Right. I love asking that one.
Yes, new parlor games, space. My golly, one thing that I just saw recently was the on Nova was the bringing how they brought that Italian liner up, the Concordia. That,
Mm.
what an interesting topic that is for conversation.
Nice. And so
Amazing.
those are what qualifies as small talk. Now, speaking of small talk, you have what is it? 13 principles of mastering small talk that you
Yes.
give away for free.
Yes, exactly. And also, I've decided to a special limited time offer only to offer my book at $25. including no tax,
Wow.
the tax I'm eating, and it's all about manners. And we know that good manners are an essential element in everyone's personal portfolio.
Right.
So
Where's the best way to get the book?
Well, you can email me
Okay.
and say buy book,
Mm-hmm.
and I will send you an invoice.
Okay.
I need to know your address and
Mm-hmm.
your shipping address, and then you can pay by PayPal, Visa, Amex, all of those great things.
Okay. And best way is to go to, I think it's easier for people to remember powermanners.com than Premier Image International. So powermanners.com. That's easy to remember, and nobody needs help spelling either of those. So powermanners.com. So where you're going to find the book, and you can, there's, I'm sure, instructions on the website how to purchase the book. But then you can also email you for those 13 Commandments of Mastering Small Talk. What's your email address for people to email you?
It's Shannon at Premier, PREMIERE, image, INTL.com. But if you put in powermanners.com, it goes right to my website.
Nice. So those are easy to remember. Shannon at premierimagintl.com, or go to powermanners.com. And I'm thinking, if you're a parent, if you have a parent with a kid in university or college, maybe this
absolutely.
is
what a great
maybe
gift.
this is the time to buy them a book, something they're not going to be taught in college or university, but will take them as far as their education will take them. And so there's a good tip for parents. Set your kids apart in the job market and in the world and in life by teaching them some of these things that most of their colleagues won't be taught. And so it will set them apart for sure, and be so important for their business life. But business professionals if you have an eye on being a business professional, advancing in your career, doing well in business, you need to know these things, because you could lose business, lose sales, lose promotions, lose contacts if you don't do these things properly, and you'll never know why a lot of times.
That's it. So these are the skills to last a lifetime. And the book is about sound advice on how to use good manners to add the polish that leads to personal power, turning every encounter into a compelling expression of self-confidence. And aren't we all about wanting more self-confidence?
And projecting that to others, so others see it as well.
Yes. So, good manners are simply rooted in common sense, logic, and kindness. And it's grounded by do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But there are specific rules into all of that as well.
Right.
So
learn
the
rules now rather than have them hurt you later.
You're absolutely correct. So,
right.
We're not being taught this in school.
We don't get taught this in school, do we?
No. So this is one of the ways to learn your manners and make success a natural part of your life.
Right.
The book explores the contemporary manners and universally accepted rules of behavior. So it helps you when you're being introduced to your mother-in-law on a blind date, whether you're meeting a client or going for a job position. The image you project is shaping your destiny.
Right, wherever you are and whoever you're with.
Exactly.
And you need to be on it all the time, because you don't know who's watching. And if you don't practice these and someone is watching, you may suffer something and never know about it. So definitely get the book now before you make the mistakes, because it's better to know ahead of time the way to do it properly. So thank you so much for being with me today, Shannon. Amazing book. I know I read it. I loved it. A lot of things in there I didn't know, wasn't aware of, and was doing improperly. And so it was really nice to learn the way to do it properly and learn that, hey, for many years I did it wrong. And so these are the kind of things you're going to learn and experience from reading your book.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Tom, and it was so nice chatting with you. And we'll do it again, and we're due for a nice tea. So
Very good.
You'll get an invitation, and we'll get together.
Very good. And everybody, go to powermanners.com. Check out this book. Buy it for yourself, buy it for your kids, buy it for your spouse. It's going to be important for their life and their career. Thank you so much for being with me today, Shannon. Have yourself an amazing day.
Ciao.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Journey to Success Radio. If you or anyone you know would like to be interviewed for the show, email Tom at tom2tall.com for details.